Gyms and health clubs are starting to reopen, but is it safe to go back even if you're allowed to? My name is Leon. This is Body Mind 360 Health and Fitness News, and after the break, we're going to discuss why and if you should return to the gym even if it becomes an option. So for today's discussion, we really want to get to the point of if and when is it going to be safe to return to the gym. I found an article that I'm going to be referencing and also will link in the description below from CNN.com that talks about just this subject matter. And one of the biggest problems when it comes to gyms is that they are areas where it is incredibly difficult to keep clean. People are sweating, people are breathing heavily. There's a lot of people in close vicinities when it comes to cardio equipment, when it comes to group exercise classes, and you can't always count on people cleaning up after themselves. So even though in a perfect world you can tell people, hey, bring towels, wipe down your machines, in reality, from my experience, most people don't. And cleaning crews can only do so much unless you get 24/7 coverage, which isn't really in the budget for most health clubs. So how are things gonna be occurring to make the environment safe? Let's take a look what the article says. So in this article, it states how in the state of Georgia, you found some of the first cases of health clubs being open. And obviously, the biggest issue they're trying to address is closeness of individuals. Health clubs are roping off every other machine on cardio equipment and trying to force this social separation, which in theory, of course, is a wonderful goal. How it's going to be enforced necessarily is going to be one big concern I'm going to have, because most gym staffs will have, a front desk person, a couple of trainers, a couple of salespeople, and a manager. And then when people kind of get into the middle of the workouts, going up to people, bothering them, getting them to try and adjust their workout strategies is going to be easier said than done. And also, if you're trying to limit the amount of people in, are there going to be huge, gigantic lines to get to the gym? I don't think anybody's ever experienced having to wait to get in the gym. But if there's going to be actual limitations on how many people are allowed into health clubs, that may be yet another concern, especially if you're trying to go and get a workout in before work or on your lunch break or after work. So that's something we have to consider. Now let's see what else the report says here. So some of the tips in this article is telling you to check into your gyms and find out very specifically, what kind of changes are being made at your specific health club. Is the spacing gonna change? How often is the equipment being cleaned between people using it? Are individuals gonna be required to wear masks? Now, it's already difficult enough for individuals to wear masks when they're running around and doing errands. Wearing a mask and exercising is much more difficult on the body as well. Maybe lifting is one thing, but doing cardio conditioning is much, much harder. And the article emphasizes this as well. As somebody myself that's worked out quite hard at the gym over the years, and recently having to wear a mask all the time at work, I could see that being a major, major problem. Also, all the sweating that occurs, it's gonna damage these masks. Even the ones that are meant to be reusable, they're not gonna last as long. So getting more masks is going to be an issue. Also, are they going to be mandated? I know a lot of places of business that don't mandate. They prefer you wear a mask, want you to wear a mask, but it's not a yes or no policy. Okay, you wear the masks, you can come in. If you don't, you cannot come in. So if they are not mandated, this also may be a big, big problem, especially if you get even one person that's sick and they cough, spread something on the equipment, the staff doesn't clean quick enough, and all of a sudden it's spreading like wildfire. Now the article also talks about not exercising near or behind somebody. And this is important. When it comes to social distancing at other businesses, that 6-foot rule is pretty good. But when you're exercising, breathing heavily, potentially, not coughing because you're sick, but maybe you're just short of breath and you're breathing extra heavily, that 6-foot range is no longer really effective. It could be a 9-foot range or more. And when working out, going to grab weights, somebody's in front of the weight rack, you're trying to get to the weights, there's just a lot more situations where you may not necessarily easily be able to avoid getting too close to other individuals at the gym. Now, another thing the article recommends is bring your own towel and water bottle. That's important as well. Although most of us are not used to that. Some gyms may have towel service. So the question will be also, will that be provided? Are they going to increase the availability of those towels? And again, what are going to be the regulations for keeping them clean? I know most gyms already have pretty strict guidelines when it comes to sanitizing the towels, but a lot of them run out pretty quickly. So will that change? Now, another thing that gets mentioned in this specific article is talking about staying away from others in swimming pools. I will go out and say here right now, during this period, even if your health club has a pool, just stay away from the pools. Don't take any risks when it comes to that. Keeping things clean and sanitary when it comes to pool levels, and hoping they have the right levels of chlorine, and also just, again, coming up for air if you're swimming, breathing. Just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen to me or to anybody. So again, my personal recommendation, even if your health club has a pool and they open it up, I do not recommend it. Stick to the other equipment. Those should be fine. So the real million-dollar question now is, even if gyms and health clubs open up, should you go back? My opinion is that we are entering a very sensitive time where businesses, health clubs, gyms, they're going to start opening up. But we're still in a very dangerous time and period because we have no vaccines. Even though we have slowed down the spread of this virus, there is the high risk that this could start spreading again, and there's nothing to keep it from spreading like wildfire again. So there are going to be certain businesses and areas where I would say they're going to be low risks, comparatively speaking. But health clubs and gyms are going to be some of the highest because, again, there's so much more sweating, so much more physical activity, so much more heavy breathing, so many more situations where you may get your germs on equipment. And if you or somebody else that's working out or one of the employees does not clean it, you can have close contact with those germs, and there you go, you're sick. You don't know it maybe for a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe two, and all of a sudden you take it back home. So my opinion is it's not going to be time to go back yet. Health clubs and gyms should be some of the last places you should be going back to. But I want to hear your opinions. What are your thoughts? Are you planning on going back to health clubs and gyms when they open up in your area? Do you live in one of the states where they've already started to open up? What has your experience been? How strict are they at your health clubs if they are open? Let's discuss in the comments below. Now, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of Health and Fitness News. If you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification button to be notified of new videos when they drop. And as always, I'll see you guys next time on your journey to a healthier body and mind.